In the Himalayan foothills of northern India, the sounds of Tibet drift through the cool air. A monastery reverberates to the rhythms of a distant homeland across the snowy mountains. These monks are among the tens of thousands of Tibetans who fled their homeland to India. In exile in Dharamshala, they've kept up the ancient traditions of Tibet's Buddhist religion. Theirs is a unique form of Buddhism. The faithful see a universe inhabited by a myriad spirits, good and evil. Spirits like those that inhabited the Tibetan world long before Buddhism itself arrived. From the shadows of monastic halls, a feud is emerging. A clash over the spirit of a 17th century Tibetan monk. The name of the deity is Dorjee Shugden. The bustling town of Dharamshala is the seat of Tibet's government in exile. A mecca for Westerners, seekers of spiritual peace, supporters of the Tibetan cause. The prayer wheels turn. Refugees dream that they or their children might one day see their homeland freed from Chinese rule. The feud erupted here at a top Buddhist academy. One evening in February last year, a senior abbot who'd attacked worship of Dorjee Shugden as heresy was in his room translating scriptures. A group of men entered the abbot's quarters in this dormitory building. Police believe they were Shugden supporters. The intruders, who are still at large, stabbed the abbot and 2 aides to death. The monk holding the abbot's body was the first on the scene. He described to me the horror of a crime whose shockwaves continue to batter the Tibetan community. In his private quarters, close to where the monks were butchered, sits Tibet's God King, the Dalai Lama. The murders filled him at first with fear and anger, before his Buddhist calm returned. Delving into historical records back in the 1970s, he'd concluded that Dorjee Shugden was a dark and evil spirit, hostile towards Dalai Lamas. He stopped worshipping the deity. 2 years ago, he ordered his followers to do the same.
Yes, pleased to meet you. It's a great honor.
Despite the Dalai Lama's charm, he's firm on doctrinal issues. When we met, he told me that devotees of Shugden had been fueling sectarianism and endangering Tibetan unity. He rejected their charges that his ban threatened their religious freedom. The Indian police believe it's Shugden worshippers who threatened the Dalai Lama.
Judging from the wider perspective, my act really made good effect regarding unity among the various Tibetan Buddhist practitioners. And then I feel I made some kind of contribution regarding for purification or correction. There is danger. You see, such a profound Tibetan Buddhism degenerate such a profound Tibetan Buddhism eventually become spirit worship?
He criticized those refusing to give up their devotion to Dorjee Shugden.
Judging from their, their way of thinking and way of acting. Oh, yes, we can say fanatic.
The Indian police are still investigating the murders. It was dress uniform day when I met the officer responsible, Ishwar Bandari, at his Dharamshala headquarters. He believes as many as 6 people carried out the attack and that at least 2 of them escaped to Tibet. Mr. Bandari thinks China might be exploiting the Shugden issue by sheltering the suspects. For the police, tension between supporters and opponents of the Shugden spirit has become a serious concern.
After this controversy, we are taken by surprise that there's a lot of problem within the community, and we have to take care of such classes in future. And particularly the security of His Holiness. We are quite concerned because of this controversy. It has given new dimension, and we have to put more resources and more people for his security. And we have to be more cautious, and we have to take certain steps to ensure that this kind of activities are checked so that there is no problem as far as policing is concerned.
To find Dorjee Shugden's followers, we travelled from Dharamshala to Bailakuppe, home to more than 5,000 Tibetan monks. Here in a jungle clearing is Sera Monastery, one of the great centres of Tibetan Buddhist learning, a piece of Tibet transplanted into an alien land. The unaccustomed heat exacted a heavy toll on the lives of the monks who built it. The monks undergo arduous training. Theirs is a vigorous intellectual quest for truth, not just passive rote learning of Buddhist doctrine. Most of these novices are Shugden worshippers. They sharpen their debating skills with passion and fury. In their theological struggle with the Dalai Lama, they're proving hard to defeat. Monsoon storm clouds gather over one of Sera Monastery's biggest colleges, Pomra, a bastion of resistance to the Dalai Lama's ban. Here there's a shrine dedicated to Dorjee Shugden. On display are a crown and silk robes for the spirit's use. Dorjee Shugden's devotees belong to the same Buddhist tradition as the Dalai Lama. This makes their defiance of his orders all the more potent. Nyawam Namgyal is the most senior monk here. He was one of the Dalai Lama's bodyguards during the God King's flight from Tibet in 1959. Nyawang believes that Dorjee Shugden helped him to escort the Dalai Lama to safety. He can't understand why he's now a heretic in the Dalai Lama's eyes. Geshe Dragpa Gyaltsen also fled Tibet at the same time as the Dalai Lama. Then a baby stuffed in a saddlebag, now Dragpa is the charismatic leader of a pro-Shugden campaign. His name alone is enough to attract attention. He says it was given to him by Dorjee Shugden himself. It's another name for the deity. The police have listed Dragpa as a suspected accomplice in last year's murders, a crime he says he had nothing to do with. He believes the ban on shugden is divisive.
We have a lot of compulsion from our friends and other supporters who are saying that this ban is completely like a totalitarian policy, and that you should reject, the Tibetan leadership. You should proclaim yourself as an independent entity, etc. And these sympathizers with good intention, they say that if you do this, your stand will become very clear. It will be much more easier to generate support for your stand. But so far we have resisted it because we want this split to heal. We want Tibetans to become united again under the leadership of His Holiness,
But it could become a formal split.
Well, this is in the hands of His Holiness and Dalai Lama and the hands of his Tibetan advisors in the private office. Whether this will lead to a split or not, it's in their hands. It's not in our hands.
Back in his hillside enclave, the Dalai Lama maintains his orders are widely supported. Despite evidence that China is encouraging the shugden cult within Tibet itself, he believes that even in his homeland there's overwhelming approval for his ban.
At the beginning, they also have some, doubt about my approach of non-sectarian. Now they have 100% belief or trust. It's a Dalai Lama's, the position or persuasion of non-sectarian. It's truly, genuine. So this is the one way, the little disturbance voice come here, but one way, big sort of inspiration also I'm receiving. So quite well balanced.
But the reality is that the Dalai Lama is grappling now with the biggest challenge he's faced in exile to his religious and political authority. His community, once united by its contempt for China, is beginning to turn on itself. For the Nobel Peace Prize winner, this is likely to be a long and possibly dangerous struggle.